in the top right, we have our still Protoss. He is now blue, and it's Resoud. And then in the middle right position, or 3 o'clock, it is Bayagster. And he is always supposed to be... It was always foretold that he would be Protoss. So, we probably should just get into this game. I'll try to briefly get through some of the thoughts I had, at least about Bayagster and Resoud. I do wonder if Resoud will do a gate in the middle of the map. But with Bayagster, we only got to see his Zerg. We didn't really get to see it because he got pushed really early on, and the momentum just kind of broke him a little bit. But I was just going to mention that I have watched him stream a little, and his description, and I think he's a cool dude because he just said he's this dad who's trying to learn the game. I was like, that is super relatable to me, so what a cool guy. And his 2v2s are pretty good, and after kind of getting your feet wet with the first tournament, I am just curious to see. I bet you he'll be like less nervous, and obviously he's got different plans because he's Protoss. And then really quickly about Resoud, he said that he made the balanced map of a Korean fastest map. I went to the website and I actually downloaded it, but I didn't have time last night to load it up. So we got to ask him if we get the chance, or maybe afterwards I'll just look it up. But you said you looked up his record, right? And he had a ton of games.
Yeah, I think he said that he's one of the original players, and he definitely, I would have to take his word for it, considering the number of games he's played. Plus, Bayagster has some good things to say about Resoud. So, plus, along with that, I definitely believe that he's OG. This is extremely minor, but if you look at the minimap, you can sort of see what the other players' views are based on the sort of the color of their square.
Yeah.
So you can see Bayagster is a very wide screen, but then Resoud is actually the small pillar box screen.
Yeah. I
So
noticed that the
he
last
must,
game. I thought that was cool.
yeah, he must prefer either the old view or just the pillar box view. So I think if you started playing remastered, you may not be able to sympathize, but older players may be able to sympathize with the pillar box view. But 2 gas from Bayagster, so quick tech as opposed to a Nexus first. So
Yeah.
in this PvP situation where we have limited cannons, I think Resoud is gonna have a hard time considering he can only build 1 cannon at choke, and he's pretty much gonna be scrambling trying to get the tech up to Bayagster's level. So
Yeah. I think.
thankfully,
Go ahead.
Bayagster doesn't know where he is, so he can't sort of press the issue, even though he does have the zealot count, or he's ahead on the zealot count. But eventually, when he does see, I'm expecting Bayagster to be extremely aggressive once he sees how ahead in tech he is.
Yeah. And I was just gonna say, if Resoud does get the time, he can. We've seen with Ozzy before. You just become Macro Man, this barbarian Protoss, and you can catch it up in droves. However, I was gonna say that too. He went for a Nexus first. No not cannons, but no gateways in the middle of the map. Obviously, he can do cannons in the middle of the map, but now my own games are starting to bleed into it. This is interesting. So he's gonna get the Zealot in, obviously for a more full scout. Dang, Baxter is like zoning it hard. I think he was gonna try to get a probe or two if he could. That was not gonna happen. And Resoud does have his own gas going. He's going up to 4 gates, and this one Zealot is doing a great job at keeping Bagster inside his own base, which is kind of what you were saying too, with that tech advantage and then that early unit advantage. Since he went Nexus first, he could really push the issue, but he's just barely scouting him for the first time. He scouted every other spot on the map before he finally found where Resoud was, so that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, but now with the Dragoons on the way, he's gonna have to just micro his heart out. Otherwise, he's gonna lose his gateways. He's getting his Citadel up, which I think is the right choice, tech choice. He's probably gonna want to just quickly get speed as soon as possible. But if he loses his battle, which, oh no, I don't know about that engagement. If he loses his battle, he's gonna lose the gateways, and essentially, the game would probably be over.
Yeah.
I think he should try and build a robotics facility behind this, and maybe look to sort of push out with Reavers eventually. But yeah, we're seeing Bayagster throw down 2 more gateways, and probably look to be a lot more aggressive now.
Yeah, and Baxter is the one who actually went for the robotics facility. And I think if I was Bayagster, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, because I know I'm wrong a lot. I would, like, he kind of had an opportunity. It's a little bit past that now, but he had more of an opportunity to maybe try to snipe that first cannon before the other one finished, or to pick off the drone that was building buildings, or even just hit the zealots. Like, he's got range, and he's got some zealots to tank for him. So I do think what he's doing is good, and it is good that he's being really patient. Oh, he's got some random probes. That's okay. I think that I don't think it's actually a bad move. I think it's good that he's being so patient. I think he could even do just even more damage if he wants until Resoud gets his own Dragoons.
He's targeting down the Citadel, which I think is a very odd play.
Don't think he wants him to be able to get DTs.
Yeah, I do like that he delayed the Citadel, but I'm not sure about jumping on that and losing all the Zealots for that.
True.
He still wanted to keep the Zealots to keep these Zealots away, the opponent's Zealots away. Granted, he can always kite back, but I think keeping those Zealots would have been a smart play as opposed to just jumping on that Citadel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think playing it patiently and just looking to take out the gateways would have been a smarter play.
Yeah, and I think he's still in a really good position. He's only lost a couple of Dragoons versus these Zealots. And the other thing that I didn't mention either, or I guess that we didn't mention either, is that if Resoud was getting legs for his Zealots, that's reset as well. So one thing that I personally would like to see is if you just micro, which I know that he plays the other races too. There we go, starting to see a little bit. Nope, he's back to it. Just move a portion of the Dragoons. Don't move all of them, even if it's just half and half. And anyway, it's not anything super huge, but he could be getting more shots off and he could be killing more Zealots at a time if he didn't move his entire control group. Again, I still think he's doing really great. The pressure's there. At home, he's getting, I imagine, +1, his own Nexus. He's macroing well. So I think he's doing good. And then on the other side, Resoud, I think he's finally starting to be able to show his economic advantage because he's got way more gateways, and I'm surprised he's not building his own Dragoons, but maybe at this point it's just not worth it and you just wait until you can get Zealot legs and just try to pounce on Bayagster's Dragoons once that finishes. No upgrades,
right,
though.
I think that's exactly what he's doing. He's just at this point full committing. I think going Dragoons wouldn't be the right choice because he wouldn't be able to catch up on Dragoon count right now anyways.
Yeah.
But he does have the bigger army. Just a matter of getting on top of those Dragoons would be important, and getting that Templar Archives. Granted, he is getting the observatory, so it'll be something to hold him back for the time being, and it's something that he could potentially tech to Storm Drops for.
Yeah.
Although he may lose his Robotics Facility, but Speed should be finishing any moment if he started it as soon as the Citadel finished.
I think what would be interesting too, oh, there's the DT, so it might be about time for him to turn around. It would have been interesting if Bayagster went for the Citadel of Adun again and got legs again. That would have really put Resoud behind, and just it might have been enough to be like just the turning point. Back at home, he is getting more gateways. He's not building any probes, where Resoud is still building probes. You can see Resoud's up by like 30-ish supply. It's not the end of the world, and like you said, he got his observer out on time, so he still kind of has the initiative, but now he needs to keep it, because if he doesn't, then Resoud, I think, will just run him over with his economic advantage.
Right now, though, Resoud took a great engagement at the choke. Unfortunately, Resoud sort of attacked little bits and pieces with the Zealots, so he wasn't able to get a nice engagement here. Bayagster doing a good job microing right now, definitely pulling back as needed, and you want to get that nice choke and basically limit that surface area. Where is his observer?
His observer isn't with his army. I was just going to say that too. It's left in Resoud's base, so now he doesn't have anything to see that DT, and those are, I mean, we all know those are insanely powerful if there's no detection. It's an interesting spotting pylon too. So, okay, he is bringing it home. That's like kind of concerning. I don't think like 1 DT is going to be the end of the world. If he had like 4 or 5, it might have been. It's still concerning because their damage output is so high. I don't think Resoud should do this. Am I crazy? I don't think he...
Yeah, I think Bayagster's going to hold this perfectly fine, especially how his Zealots got divided like that. And at a certain point, once you have equal number of Dragoons versus equal number of Zealots, the Dragoons will win, assuming that the player micros. So
yeah,
I think Resoud needed to basically delay as opposed to committing an attack like that to either get his own Dragoon count up and or get Storm Drops going. He does have high Templars up, so I think what a good play right now would be is just to obviously bait the micro or bait the Zealots and then go in and attack with the Storms or with the Reaver that he has out right now. But losing that many Zealots, I think that's gonna, give basically Bayagster a cue to go in and attack because he knows he has a stronger army at this point.
Right.
I would like to see Resoud have a little bit of urgency on the drops. He has a shuttle. He has 2 high Templars with enough energy for Storm.
Since
but
it
he
happened,
may just be forced to defend.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Since he did wait so long, maybe this is his plan the whole time. He has to sit and defend with the Reaver and the Templar, and he's not even showing the Templar right now. Oh, he didn't pick it up, so he loses it. But they equalize for what that's worth. The
Bayagster's getting pushed back.
Yeah. So his army's cleared. He has a lot more macroing up, and he does have +1. That's another thing too. Resoud never got +1s. That is also going to make a huge difference. But now Resoud is going to have an opportunity to go for drops, and I am glad that Bayagster at least put a pylon up there. They both kind of realized at the same time that they needed to put some vision in the corners of the map. And dude, Bayagster's still attacking, and he's down like what, 40 supply right now? I think that's probably a good thing, but if he keeps feeding in too many armies, I don't know. Like, being aggressive to keep your opponent at their base is good, but then doing it too much to where they're going to be maxed out and you're going to be down like 50, 60 supply, that's not going to be good. And there comes that drop.
Here comes a drop. He gets the shuttle.
The
nice job. Yes.
That could have been catastrophic. It's already kind of looking bad for Bayagster right now. It could have been much worse. That was really good targeting. Now I can move those Dragoons up front. I mean, there always could be another drop behind it. Dude, he's let this 1DT is the hero of the game. He hasn't targeted it down, and it's got 11 kills. Its damage, again, left unchecked, is just insane. There we go. Finally cleaned up.
Yeah, I think now we're going to see sort of the tipping point where Resoud is going to be able to start to sort of impose his will, where he opts to get drops, gets his Stargate eventually for even stronger drops, and he does have the robotic support base, so he's going to have extremely fast shuttles to be able to threaten those storm drops. And as soon as you get a storm off on those probes, that's unless you're able to return the favor, that's going to be GG. So with the stronger army on Resoud's side and the tech on Resoud's side as well, it's looking good for Resoud so far, and Bayagster's going to have to play a little bit of catch up.
Yeah, and he's been getting been given a little bit of breathing room, but not anymore. Now
Look
this is an army.
Zealot cascading through.
This is a tower defense game, just without any towers. He does got a lot of Dragoons, and if he micros it right, gets behind buildings, uses his cannons that he has, like he's got his own DTs now, and Resoud was getting his, oh man, but there's another shuttle right there. He kind of showed it, but while Bayagster's trying to defend and micro his units, he might get storm dropped. It just depends. It depends on how much he's watching, because it's coming in right now.
There's a lot to focus on. Let's see if Bayagster's paying attention. The storm comes out. Oh, gets the storm. 34 kills. Yeah,
34. Could have been worse, but that's pretty damn bad.
Oh no, that hurts a lot. Oh man.
Yeah.
Now you can see sort of the supply and the money dip for Bayagster. You can see he's gonna have no gas, even though he's putting all of his guys, or he's putting all of his probes to mine minerals. So he's gonna have no gas. Along with that, he has so few army, whereas Resoud has 3K banked.
Yeah.
So at this point, really, he could just streamline Zealots over and over again while occasionally threatening drops, and he should see him be able to push him through.
If he does his own counter drop, he could go up like to 12 and then storm 11 from 12. One thing I guess that I should say, we see this Dark Archon. I don't think it's going to have enough time. Oh, he's going to use it for feedbacks. That's a good idea. I was like, man, what like a big brain move. He sees that Resoud is mostly going Zealots. So if he's going Zealots, then use Maelstrom on him, because it works on Zealots, doesn't it? They're biological units, so he could freeze them temporarily and maybe storm them or something. That was just wishful thinking. It's so he can feedback, and that's fine. No need to get flashy with it. I just had a little bit of hope beyond hopes on that one. It's not, the supply discrepancy really isn't too bad, and it's 1-1-1 versus probably versus 2-0. So I am not experienced enough to see how these go out. I would probably, how these two upgrades go up against each other, I'd probably rather have the plus 1-1-1, but who knows. Great storm, by the way.
Yeah, this is great defense so far by Bayagster. The issue isn't necessarily the supply. Bayagster can catch up, but after these engagements, is he able to remax as quickly as Resoud? As you can see, Resoud's supply is constantly staying high, 170 plus, whereas Bayagster is struggling to keep up and keep himself above 100. So he may be able to defend this, but can he defend the next wave and potentially the wave after that, especially if there's another storm drop coming, which right now I don't see any shuttles anywhere. So he may be able to hold on and stabilize, but I think Resoud, a good course of play for Resoud would be opting for a little bit more shuttle play. But he pushed it back so far. Now he has enough mana to feed back twice, assuming there's 2 High Templars coming.
And there might
so
be.
we'll be able to see Bayagster survive.
This is really cool. I'm surprised that, like, just because I didn't have any expectations, I guess I was going to be surprised no matter what. But the way that they, well, the lack of drops, we've only seen 2 attempts, and usually with Protoss, it's just so strong. And I guess it is, since it is just like a PvP, right? There's a lot of variables that go into it. That last engagement that we had the opposite problem, where Resoud didn't have an observer, so the 2 to 3 Dark Templar that Bayagster had, we're able to go to town and I really do think that might not have been the main turning point. I just think they were extremely, extremely helpful. So he's got a High Templar. Right now is a really good time to storm those Zealots or Dragoons or anything as they go in. If he loses this Templar, which he did, that's painful. That could have been a lot of free damage, at least free up until that High Templar got sniped. And this other High Templar doesn't have enough energy. The Observer is with the team this time, but they're not targeting the DTs. They're probably not close enough now. It is. Okay. So you're right.
Bayagster unfortunately got caught a little off guard in the center of the map, lost a lot of units. And I think Resoud is taking full advantage of that. He has a very nice arc, so I see him defending, but let's see how he defends against this shuttle drop coming in. He has to see it at this point, and he has to get his Dark Templar ready. Let's see how it goes.
Feedback.
Any feedback? Feedback once.
Feed
feedback
again.
no. Epic feedback. Oh my goodness. That High Templar was there for an eternity. I was so nervous.
My heart stopped for a second because it was either way, whether the Templar dying or all the probes dying.
Those are some epic feedbacks. Now the real question is, can he defend right now? He's throwing off some decent storms and he's macroing hard behind this. So I think he'll be able to hopefully eventually.
With reinforcements,
oh man,
I think he's
reinforcements coming in though.
If he were able to snipe that observer, it would be all right. But he just lost both of his observers that he had kind of in hiding. He had opportunities early, I think, to storm. There was a handful of units that he lost. Anyway, I think that this is it. That was an epic play at the end, though. I'm super proud of Bayagster. That was a really good game, and it was a really fun game to watch. I guess an old school veteran player come in and show us how it's done. We need to play with the small letterbox, right?
Yeah, I think if Resoud makes multiple wins, that's our cue to start putting up the pillar boxes. Good game.
GG.
Well played.